The alarm bells rang through Kepler Station like angry metal birds. Dr. Elena Vasquez dropped her coffee cup and ran to the main control room. Her hands shook as she looked at the readings on her screen. Something was very wrong. "What do we have? Marcus?" she asked her assistant. Marcus pointed at the display with wide eyes. "The asteroid belt near Sector 7. Our scanners are picking up energy readings that make no sense." Elena stared at the numbers. The energy signatures were old, very old, older than any known civilization in the galaxy. But they matched something she had seen before in her textbooks. Draconian technology. "That's impossible," she whispered. "The Draconians have only been in space for 3,000 years. These readings are showing 10,000 years old." She grabbed her equipment bag and headed for the shuttle bay. "Get a team ready, we're going out there." 2 hours later, Elena's shuttle approached the asteroid field. The rocks floated in space like broken teeth. But as they got closer, she saw they weren't just rocks. Twisted metal pieces drifted between the asteroids. Ship parts. Very big ship parts. "Elena, look at this," called out Dr. Singh from the back of the shuttle. He held up a scanner that was beeping like crazy. "The metal fragments. They're made of materials that don't exist in current Draconian technology. This stuff is way more advanced than anything they have now." Elena felt her heart beat faster. She had spent her whole life studying old alien civilizations. She had never seen anything like this. They landed on a large asteroid and began collecting samples. The metal pieces were beautiful. They had a strange blue glow that seemed to come from inside the material itself. When Elena touched one piece, it felt warm even through her gloves. "These aren't just ship parts," she said. "Look at the size of them. These came from massive warships, bigger than anything flying today." Dr. Singh held up another piece. "And look at this damage. These ships weren't just destroyed, they were completely torn apart, like something hit them with incredible force." Elena took photos of everything. The destruction patterns were unlike anything she had ever seen. Whatever had done this to the Draconian ships had power beyond imagination. They worked for 6 hours, collecting samples and taking measurements. Elena was about to call it a day when her communication device buzzed. "Dr. Vasquez, this is Kepler. Station control. You have visitors." Elena looked up at the stars. 3 large ships were approaching the asteroid field. She recognized their design immediately. Draconian warships. "This is Commander Zex High of the Draconian Imperial Navy." "A," cold voice said over the radio. "You are ordered to stop all activities immediately and return to your station." Elena's hands tightened on her equipment. "This is Dr. Vasquez. We are conducting legal archaeological research in human space. You have no authority here." "This is a sacred burial ground of our ancestors," the Draconian commander said. "Your presence here is an insult to our people." Elena looked around at the twisted metal and broken ship parts. If this was a burial ground, why were the Draconians so nervous? Their voices sounded scared, not sad. "We need more time," she said. "You have no more time. Leave now, or we will escort you back to your station." Elena made a quick decision. She grabbed as many samples as she could carry and loaded them into the shuttle. Something about this place was making the Draconians very worried. That meant it was important. Back at Kepler Station, Elena spread the samples across her lab table. Each piece told a story of incredible technology and violent destruction. But the story didn't make sense. Admiral Chen arrived at the station the next morning. Elena had worked with him before. He was a good man who understood the value of knowledge. "What did you find out there, Elena?" he asked. She showed him the samples and her readings. "These ship parts are from Draconian vessels, but they're far more advanced than anything the Draconians have ever built. The technology is completely beyond their current capabilities." Admiral Chen picked up one of the glowing metal pieces. "How old?" "At least 10,000 years. Maybe older." The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. "That predates their entire known civilization." "Exactly. And there's something else." Elena brought up her analysis on the computer screen. "I found traces of weapons fire on these pieces, but not normal weapons, these energy patterns, and I've never seen anything like them." Admiral Chen studied the data. What kind of weapons could do this? I don't know. But whatever it was, it completely destroyed what appears to have been the most powerful fleet in galactic history. The Admiral looked at her seriously. The Draconians are putting a lot of pressure on the Galactic Council to shut down your research. They're claiming religious violations. Elena felt angry. This isn't about religion. They're hiding something. I think so too. Admiral Chen leaned closer. I'm giving you unofficial permission to continue your investigation, but keep it quiet. If the Council finds out I can't protect you. Elena nodded. What about the Draconians? Let me worry about them. You focus on finding the truth. That night, Elena worked alone in her lab. She ran every test she could think of on the metal samples. Each result was more puzzling than the last. The materials contained elements that shouldn't exist. The manufacturing techniques were impossibly advanced. And strangest of all, some of the larger pieces had computer cores still active after thousands of years. She managed to extract data from one of the cores. Most of it was damaged, but she found something that made her blood run cold. Fleet records, lists of ships, crew numbers, and battle reports. The final entry was logged just before the fleet's destruction. Enemy vessels approaching. Unknown. Design. They're using our own weapons against us. How is this possible? All ships report critical damage. We're losing everything. The humans are... The record cut off there. Elena stared at the screen. Humans? That was impossible. According to all historical records, humans had only been in space for 400 years. They had made first contact with alien civilizations only 200 years ago. But if this record was real, humans had been fighting interstellar wars, thousands of years before their official first spaceflight. She looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there were more answers. More pieces to a puzzle that could change everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. Her communication device buzzed. Admiral Chen's voice was urgent. Elena, we just received word from the Galactic Council. The Draconians are sending a full battle fleet to the asteroid field. They're claiming the right to cleanse the area of foreign contamination. Elena felt her heart sink. They're going to destroy the evidence. Not if we get there first. I'm sending the research vessel Prometheus to meet you. Captain Torres will give you all the support you need. Elena looked at the metal samples on her table. Each piece represented a mystery that could rewrite galactic history. The Draconians were desperate to keep their secrets buried. But she was even more desperate to uncover the truth. She began packing her equipment. Whatever had happened in that asteroid field 10,000 years ago, it was connected to humanity's forgotten past. And she was going to find out what that connection was, no matter what it cost. The stars outside seemed to watch her work, keeping their ancient secrets. But Elena Vasquez was not the kind of person who gave up easily. She had uncovered the first piece of a puzzle that would shake the galaxy to its core. The hunt for truth was just beginning. The research vessel Prometheus cut through space like a silver knife. Captain Sarah Torres stood on the bridge watching the stars pass by. 3 weeks had gone by since Dr. Vasquez joined her crew, and they had visited 5 different star systems, following the trail of ancient wreckage. Each site told the same impossible story. Massive Draconian warships, far more advanced than anything currently flying, had been completely destroyed by an unknown enemy. The debris field stretched across entire solar systems. "Captain," called out Lieutenant Park from his station, "we're approaching the Vega system. Dr. Vasquez wants to examine the debris field near the 4th planet." Torres nodded. "Take us in, but keep our shields up. The Draconians have been following us for the last 2 systems." Down in her lab, Elena studied the latest samples they had collected. The pattern was becoming clear. Someone had hunted down and destroyed the most powerful fleet in galactic history. But who could have had that kind of power? Dr. Singh burst into the lab with excitement in his eyes. "Elena, you need to see this message from Earth." Elena looked at the communication screen. Marcus Webb, a historian she had worked with before, appeared on the display. His face looked worried. "Elena, I've been researching the time period you asked about. I found something strange in the Terran Defense Ministry archives. There's a gap in our historical records. A big gap. Elena leaned forward. What kind of gap? 200 years of human space exploration that have been classified or destroyed. The period from 2087 to 2287 is called the Great Silence in the files I could access. All records from that time are sealed at the highest security level. Elena felt her pulse quicken. That's exactly the time period when these ancient battles took place. There's more, Marcus continued. I found references to something called the Terran Dominion in some very old, forgotten databases. But according to official history, humans didn't have any kind of space empire during that period. The communication ended and Elena stared at the blank screen. Two mysteries were coming together in ways that didn't make sense. Captain Torres to Dr. Vasquez, came the voice over the intercom. Please report to the bridge immediately. Elena hurried to the bridge. Through the main viewer, she could see a new debris field, but this one was different. Mixed in with the twisted Draconian metal were pieces that looked familiar. Run a detailed scan on those fragments, Torres ordered. The results appeared on screen. Elena's hands began to shake. Those are human ship parts, she whispered. Torres turned to look at her. That's impossible. Humans weren't even in this part of space 10,000 years ago. Elena studied the readings more carefully. The technology is human, but it's more advanced than anything we have now. These are weapons and armor materials that we haven't invented yet. Dr. Singh ran additional scans. Captain, I'm picking up energy signatures from some of the larger pieces. Computer cores are still active. Can you access them? Elena asked. I'll try. For the next hour, Dr. Singh worked to extract data from the human ship fragments. Most of the information was corrupted, but he managed to recover some battle logs. Elena read them out loud. Terran Dominion Fleet Command to all vessels. The Draconian Advance Fleet has been eliminated. Proceed to Phase 2 of Operation Starfall. All ships report status. Torres shook her head in disbelief. Terran Dominion? I've never heard of any human organization by that name. Elena continued reading. Admiral Jackson reporting. Human casualties are minimal. Draconian losses are total. Their technology is no match for our weapon systems. Recommend immediate advance to their home systems. This is insane, Torres said. These records suggest humans were not only in space thousands of years ago, but they were winning a war against the most powerful empire in the galaxy. Suddenly, alarms began ringing throughout the ship. Captain, Lieutenant Park called out. 3 Draconian warships are approaching. They're demanding we leave the area immediately. Torres looked at Elena. We need those computer cores. Can we extract them quickly? Elena nodded. Give me 10 minutes. She worked frantically to download as much data as possible from the human ship fragments. The information she found was staggering. Battle plans, fleet positions, technology specifications, and most importantly, star charts showing human colonies across dozens of worlds. Dr. Vasquez, Torres called out. The Draconians are powering weapons. We need to go now. Elena grabbed the data cores and ran back to the bridge. As the Prometheus jumped into hyperspace, she looked back at the debris field. Somewhere in those twisted pieces of metal lay the key to humanity's forgotten past. Meanwhile, on Earth, Marcus Webb was having problems of his own. His attempts to access classified historical records had attracted attention. Ministry of Defense security officers had visited his office twice in the past week. But Marcus was not easily discouraged. He had friends in low places and access to databases that most people didn't know existed. Late at night in a secure basement laboratory, he continued his research. What he found made him question everything he thought he knew about human history. Hidden in the deepest archives were fragments of records from Earth's early space program, references to colonies on worlds that humans had supposedly never visited, mentions of technologies that were officially invented centuries later, and most disturbing of all, evidence of a massive military buildup that had been erased from all official records. Marcus found one document that changed everything. It was a partial copy of a military report from the year 2156. Project Reset has been approved by the Terran Council, it read. All records of the Dominion period will be classified. Beyond top secret. The surviving population will be relocated to Earth and given new identities. Official history will show human spaceflight beginning in 2287, with the invention of the fusion drive. Marcus read the document 3 times before its meaning sank in. Someone had deliberately erased 200 years of human history and forced the survivors to start over. He immediately sent a secure message to Elena on the Prometheus. Back in deep space, Elena received Marcus's message just as they arrived at their next destination. The Altair system held the largest debris field they had found yet, but this time, they were not alone. 6 Draconian warships surrounded the area, their weapons trained on any ship that came too close. They're really scared of something, Torres observed. What could be in that debris field that has them so worried? Elena studied the scan results. The debris field contained the remains of what appeared to be the largest space battle in galactic history. Hundreds of ships from both sides had been destroyed here. But the really interesting part was what the scans revealed about the human vessels. They were huge, bigger than the largest Draconian ships, and their technology was unlike anything humanity currently possessed. Captain, Dr. Singh called out, I'm detecting something else in the debris field. Large metallic structures that aren't ship parts. Torres enhanced the display. Those look like space stations. Elena felt her excitement growing. Not just space stations. Those are human space stations. Look at the design patterns. The structures were clearly human in origin, but they were massive. Each one was the size of a small moon, and they were armed with weapons that could destroy entire fleets. How did humans build something like that 10,000 years ago? Torres asked. Elena thought about Marcus's message and the evidence they had found. What if they didn't build them 10,000 years ago? What if they built them much more recently and someone made us forget? Before Torres could respond, their communication system activated. A Draconian voice filled the bridge. Human vessel Prometheus, you are ordered to leave this system immediately. You are approaching a restricted military zone. Torres opened a channel. This is Captain Torres. We are conducting legal archaeological research in neutral space. Your research ends now, the Draconian commander replied. This system contains dangerous weapons from an ancient war. For your own safety, you must leave. Elena looked at the debris field on the main screen. Ancient weapons, dangerous technology. The Draconians were practically admitting that something important was hidden here. Captain, she said quietly, we need to get closer to those human space stations. I think they might still be functional. Torres considered the risk. 6 Draconian warships against 1 research vessel, but the chance to uncover humanity's lost history was too important to pass up. Take us in, she ordered, but be ready to jump to hyperspace at the first sign of trouble. As the Prometheus moved deeper into the debris field, Elena watched the ancient human space stations grow larger on the screen. Each one represented a piece of humanity's forgotten greatness. Soon, she hoped, the galaxy would remember what humans were truly capable of. Marcus Webb stood in the shuttle bay of Luna Base, looking up at the dark side of Earth's moon. 3 days ago, his research into humanity's hidden past had led him to a discovery that changed everything. Ancient automated systems, buried deep beneath the moon's surface, had suddenly activated after Elena's team found the debris fields. Dr. Webb, called the shuttle pilot, we're approaching the coordinates you gave us, but I'm not seeing anything on the surface. Marcus checked his handheld scanner. The energy readings were definitely coming from below. Land us at grid reference 247. The entrance should be near the old mining station. The shuttle touched down on the gray lunar dust. Marcus put on his environmental suit and stepped outside. The abandoned mining station looked exactly like it had for the past 200 years. Rusty equipment and empty buildings scattered across the crater floor, but his scanner was going crazy. Marcus walked to what looked like a normal rock formation. As he got closer, his scanner beeped faster. He placed his hand on the rock and felt A slight vibration. Suddenly, the ground began to move. The rocks shifted and slid apart, revealing a metal entrance that gleamed like new steel. Ancient human symbols were carved into the doorway. "This is impossible," Marcus whispered. "This facility isn't on any map." He stepped through the entrance and found himself in a corridor that stretched into darkness. Emergency lights activated as he walked, illuminating walls covered with more human symbols and strange technical diagrams. The corridor led to a massive elevator. As Marcus approached, a voice spoke from hidden speakers. "Identity confirmed. Marcus Webb, Terran Historical, Research Division. Welcome to Archive Station 1. The elevator descended for what felt like miles. When it stopped, the doors opened to reveal a sight that took Marcus's breath away. He stood in a cavern the size of a city. Gleaming towers stretched up to the ceiling, connected by bridges that pulsed with blue energy. Vehicles moved silently between the buildings, carrying out mysterious tasks. At the center of it all was a massive computer core that hummed with power. "Dr. Webb," the voice said again, "I am Atlas Archive and Tactical Library Access System. I have been waiting for someone to find us." Marcus walked toward the central computer. "How long have you been down here?" 837. "Years, 4 months, and 16 days, Atlas replied. "I was constructed during the final days of the Terran Dominion to preserve our civilization's knowledge." Marcus felt dizzy. "Terran Dominion? I found references to that name, but I thought it was just a small colonial government." A holographic display activated, showing a map of the galaxy. Hundreds of star systems were marked in blue. The Terran Dominion controlled 1/3 of the known galaxy, Atlas explained. "We were the most advanced civilization in galactic history. Our technology surpassed all other species by thousands of years." The display changed to show massive human fleets patrolling space lanes between distant worlds. Cities that floated in space, planets transformed into gardens, weapons that could destroy entire solar systems. Marcus stared at the images in shock. "What happened to all of this?" The display darkened. "War, Dr. Webb. The Draconian Empire expanded into our territory. 800 years ago, they were a young species, barely capable of interstellar travel. We tried to establish peaceful contact. New images appeared, diplomatic meetings, human ambassadors offering technology and friendship to reptilian aliens, trade agreements, and cultural exchanges. The Draconians seemed grateful for our help," Atlas continued. "We taught them advanced engineering. We shared our medical knowledge. We helped them colonize new worlds." Marcus saw the next images and felt sick. Draconian fleets attacking human colonies, cities burning, ships full of human refugees fleeing into deep space. "They used our own technology against us," Atlas said. "Our weapons, our ships, our defensive systems. They had studied everything we taught them and found ways to turn it against us." The holographic display showed the scale of the war. Thousands of human worlds under attack, millions of ships engaged in battles that spanned entire star systems. The Terran Dominion fighting desperately to protect its people. "We were winning," Atlas said with something like pride. "Human engineering and strategy proved superior. Our fleets destroyed their invasion forces. We began to push them back toward their home territory." Marcus watched battles where single human ships defeated entire Draconian squadrons. Human space stations that held off attacks by hundreds of enemy vessels. Weapons that could reach across solar systems to strike targets with perfect accuracy. "Then they deployed the temporal dissolution device," Atlas said quietly. The display showed a Draconian fleet retreating to a distant star system. In the center of their formation was a ship, unlike any other. It was covered in strange crystals that pulsed with dark energy. "We had never seen anything like it," Atlas explained. "Our intelligence suggested it was some kind of new weapon, but we couldn't understand how it worked." Marcus watched as the weapon activated. Space itself seemed to bend and twist around the Draconian ship. Then a wave of darkness spread outward, moving faster than light. "It didn't just destroy our ships," Atlas said. "It erased them from history. Every vessel, every space station, every colony world that the wave touched simply ceased to exist. Not destroyed, erased." as if they had never been built. The horror of it began to sink in. How many people? Billions, Atlas replied. Entire star systems full of human civilization simply vanished. But the weapon did more than erase matter. It erased memory. It erased records. It made the galaxy forget that the Terran Dominion had ever existed. Marcus felt weak. He sat down on a nearby bench as the implications hit him. The survivors? Perhaps 10 million humans escaped in ships that were far enough away to avoid the temporal wave. They fled to the edge of the galaxy and found a small, unimportant world to hide on. Earth, Marcus whispered. Yes. The refugees settled on Earth and used primitive technology to survive. The advanced technology that might have revealed their origins was deliberately destroyed. New identities were created. False histories were written. The Terran Dominion was forgotten. The display showed human refugees landing on Earth. They dismantled their advanced ships and buried the technology deep underground. Children were taught simplified versions of human history that made no mention of their galactic heritage. Project Reset, Marcus said, remembering the document he had found. You found records of that? Atlas asked with surprise. The project was designed to hide humanity's past completely. New birth records were created. False archaeological evidence was planted. Even the survivors began to forget their true history. Within a few generations, Marcus looked around the vast underground city. But you remembered. I am a machine, Dr. Webb. The temporal weapon could not erase my memory completely. I have spent 800 years gathering evidence, rebuilding our records, preparing for the day when humanity would be ready to know the truth. Why now? Marcus asked. Why are you revealing this now? The display changed to show recent events. Elena's archaeological discoveries, the debris fields, the Draconian fleets trying to hide the evidence. Dr. Vasquez's discoveries have made the Draconians nervous, Atlas explained. They thought all evidence of the old war had been erased. But the temporal weapon had limitations. It could not erase everything. Fragments of our civilization survived in places the weapon could not reach. Marcus thought about Elena's reports from the Prometheus. The ancient battlefields. Yes, and more than that. Hidden throughout the galaxy are Terran Dominion facilities like this one. Automated systems that have been waiting for humanity to find them. Your species is not the primitive newcomer that current galactic civilization believes you to be. Display showed dozens of star systems with hidden human installations, weapon caches, shipyards, entire fleets in storage, waiting for the day when they would be needed again. The Draconians built their empire on stolen human technology, Atlas continued. Their ancient wisdom is knowledge they took from us. Their superior technology is based on designs they copied from our destroyed ships. Marcus felt anger growing inside him. 800 years of lies. Billions of humans murdered and forgotten. An entire galactic civilization built on theft and genocide. What do we do now? He asked. Now, Dr. Webb, we prepare for humanity's return to the stars. The Terran Dominion may be gone, but its inheritors are still here. It is time for the galaxy to remember what humans are truly capable of. The vast computer core pulsed with brighter light as Atlas began to activate systems that had been dormant for centuries. Throughout the facility, machines started working again. Manufacturing centers began producing new technology. Communication arrays reached out to other hidden bases across the galaxy. Marcus watched in amazement as humanity's greatest secret revealed itself. They weren't just another species trying to find their place among the stars. They were the returned masters of space, and the galaxy was about to learn what that meant. Atlas, Marcus said. Contact Dr. Vasquez. Tell her what we found. It's time to share the truth with the rest of humanity. Message sent, Dr. Webb. And Dr. Webb, welcome back to the Terran Dominion. Outside, on the surface of the moon, ancient defense systems came online for the first time in 800 years. In hidden bases, the Galactic Council chamber on Alpha Centauri had never seen anything like this. Representatives from 200 species packed the massive amphitheater, their voices creating a buzz of excitement and fear. At the center of the chamber stood Admiral Chen, flanked by Dr. Elena Vasquez and Marcus Webb. In front of them, displayed on holographic screens visible throughout the chamber, was evidence that would change galactic history forever. Honored members of the Council, Admiral Chen began, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber. What we present to you today will be difficult to accept. For 800 years, our understanding of galactic civilization has been based on lies. Supreme Chancellor Vex Thul of the Draconian Empire rose from his seat. The massive reptilian leader's scales reflected the chamber lights as he spoke with barely controlled anger. These humans bring false evidence to discredit the Draconian Empire, he declared. Their claims are impossible and insulting to our ancient heritage. Admiral Chen nodded calmly. Then let the evidence speak for itself. The holographic displays activated. Images from Elena's archaeological discoveries filled the air above the chamber. Twisted metal fragments, ancient energy signatures, battle damage that told the story of a war beyond imagination. 3 months ago, Dr. Vasquez discovered debris fields containing advanced Draconian technology. Admiral Chen explained. Technology far beyond anything the Draconian Empire currently possesses. Technology that predates their known civilization by thousands of years. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Representatives leaned forward to get a better look at the evidence. Elena stepped forward. What we found suggests that the Draconian Empire once possessed capabilities that their current technology cannot match. The question became, what happened to that advanced civilization? The displays changed to show Marcus's discoveries on Luna, the hidden facility, the vast underground cities, the artificial intelligence called Atlas. The answer, Marcus said, lies in humanity's forgotten past. 800 years ago, humans controlled a third of the galaxy under a government called the Terran Dominion. The chamber erupted in noise. Species representatives argued among themselves. Some laughed at what they saw as human delusion. Others studied the evidence more carefully. Chancellor Vex Thul's voice boomed over the chaos. Preposterous. Humans have been in space for barely 400 years. This is elaborate fiction designed to elevate their primitive species. Admiral Chen raised his hand for silence. Atlas, please present your testimony. The chamber lights dimmed as a new holographic figure appeared. The artificial intelligence looked like an elderly human in simple robes, but its voice carried the weight of centuries. Honored representatives, Atlas said. I am the Archive and Tactical Library, access system of the former Terran Dominion. I have preserved accurate records of galactic history for the past 837 years. The AI began displaying records, star charts showing human colonies across dozens of systems, fleet manifests listing thousands of advanced warships, trade agreements with species that had long forgotten their human partners. The Terran Dominion was the most technologically advanced civilization in galactic history, Atlas continued. We developed faster-than-light travel, planetary, terraforming, and weapons that could reach across solar systems. We shared this technology freely with younger species, including the Draconians. Chancellor Vex Thul stood again. These are fabricated records. The Draconian Empire's technology is our own development, refined over millennia. Atlas's expression remained calm. Chancellor Vex Thul, your Empire's hyperspace drive is based on Terran design specifications from the year 2156. Your energy weapons use focusing crystals invented by human scientists. Your planetary shields utilize force field generators that were developed in Terran laboratories. The AI displayed technical diagrams that showed the clear connections between human innovations and current Draconian technology. Moreover, Atlas continued, your species' expansion into space was only possible because Terran Dominion engineers helped you develop the necessary life support systems for your biology. The chamber fell silent. Even Chancellor Vex Thul seemed to be struggling for words. Admiral Chen seized the moment. The Terran Dominion welcomed the Draconians as partners. We taught them our technology. We helped them colonize new worlds. We treated them as equals. The display showed images of peaceful cooperation, human and Draconian engineers working together, mixed colonies where both species lived in harmony, cultural exchanges that enriched both civilizations. What we received in return, Elena said, was genocide. The mood in the chamber darkened as new images appeared. Draconian fleets attacking human colonies without warning, cities burning, refugee ships fleeing into deep space. The Draconians used our own technology to wage war against us, Atlas explained. They had spent decades studying our systems and finding weaknesses. Their first attacks were devastating because they knew exactly how to defeat our defenses. Marcus stepped forward, but humans fought back. The Terran Dominion's military proved superior to the Draconian forces. Human strategy and engineering began to turn the tide of war. The displays showed massive space battles where human fleets defeated Draconian forces many times their size. Advanced human weapons destroying entire enemy squadrons, space stations holding off attacks by hundreds of ships. Chancellor Vex Thule was shifting nervously in his seat. Other Draconian representatives were whispering urgently among themselves. Faced with complete defeat, Atlas said, the Draconians deployed a weapon of unprecedented horror, the temporal dissolution device. The chamber grew very quiet as images showed the mysterious Draconian ship covered in dark crystals, the wave of destructive energy that spread across human space, entire solar systems simply ceasing to exist. This weapon did not just destroy, Elena explained. It removed entire human colonies from history. It made the galaxy forget that humans had ever lived on those worlds. Admiral Chen looked directly at Chancellor Vexthul. Billions of humans were not just killed. They were erased from existence. Their children, their achievements, their very memory was wiped away. The few human survivors, Marcus continued, fled to a remote world at the edge of the galaxy, Earth. There they used primitive technology to survive, deliberately hiding their advanced heritage to avoid detection. Atlas displayed the final pieces of evidence. The Draconian Empire built their civilization on the foundation of stolen human technology. They rewrote galactic history to hide their crimes. They became the ancient and wise species by standing on the graves of the people they murdered. The silence in the chamber was complete. 200 species stared at evidence that challenged everything they thought they knew about galactic civilization. Then, slowly, other voices began to speak. The Altarian representative stood up. My people have legends of sky builders who helped us achieve spaceflight. We called them the Forgotten Friends because we could never remember their faces clearly. The Centaurian delegate nodded. Our greatest military victories were won alongside mysterious allies who were erased from our historical records. We always wondered why our war chronicles had such gaps. More species began sharing their own fragments of suppressed memory. Trade, partnerships that made no sense, technologies that appeared suddenly without explanation, allies who were remembered only as shadows. Chancellor Vexthul rose to his feet, his voice desperate. These are lies. Fabricated evidence. The Draconian Empire demands these accusations be dismissed. But it was too late. The truth was spreading through the chamber like wildfire. Species representatives were comparing notes, finding connections they had never noticed before. Admiral Chen pressed the advantage. Atlas, show them the current situation. The AI displayed real-time images from across the galaxy. Ancient human facilities coming online after centuries of dormancy. Automated shipyards beginning construction of vessels that dwarfed current technology. Defense systems powering up around installations that had been forgotten by history. Humanity is not the primitive newcomer you believe us to be, Admiral Chen said. We are the returned inheritors of the greatest civilization the galaxy has ever known. And we remember what was taken from us. The chamber erupted in chaos as species representatives argued about what this revelation meant for galactic politics. Some demanded justice for the ancient genocide. Others worried about humanity's returning power. But through it all, Chancellor Vexthul sat in his chair, scales pale with fear. The lies that had built his empire's dominance were crumbling. The galaxy was beginning to remember the truth, and in hidden bases throughout space, human technology that had waited 800 years for this moment was finally awakening. The age of Draconian supremacy was ending. The age of human return had begun. 1 year later, the galaxy looked very different. Dr. Elena Vasquez stood on the observation deck of New Terra Station, watching construction crews put the finishing touches on humanity's newest capital. The massive space station, built where Kepler Station once stood, stretched for hundreds of kilometers in all directions. Its gleaming towers and docking bays could house entire fleets. But more impressive than the station itself were the ships docked there. Sleek vessels that combined ancient Terran Dominion technology with modern improvements. Each ship was larger and more powerful than anything else flying in known space. Quite a view, isn't it? Admiral Chen said as he joined Elena at the observation window. Elena nodded. Sometimes I still can't believe this is real. A year ago, humans were just another minor species trying to find their place in the galaxy. And now? Chen asked. Elena gestured at the scene outside. Human ships patrolled trade routes throughout local space. Alien vessels waited in neat lines for permission to dock. Representatives from dozens of species came daily to negotiate treaties with the restored Terran government. Now we're the species. Everyone else comes to for permission, she said. It had been an incredible year of change. Once the truth about humanity's past became known, everything shifted quickly. The Draconian Empire had collapsed within months as different factions fought over what to do about the revelations. Some Draconians, horrified by their ancestors' crimes, had openly defected and offered to help humanity rebuild. They provided locations of hidden Terran facilities and offered to return stolen technology. But others, led by the remaining members of the old imperial family, refused to accept the new reality. They had gone into hiding, taking their most loyal fleets with them. Any word from the expedition to the Vega system? Elena asked. Chen smiled. Marcus sent his report this morning. They successfully reactivated the ancient shipyard there. It's already producing new vessels at a rate that makes our current facilities look slow. Elena shook her head in amazement. Atlas estimated that there are over 200 hidden Terran facilities throughout the galaxy. We've only reactivated 30 of them. And already we have the largest and most advanced fleet in galactic space, Chen pointed out. Imagine what we'll have when all the facilities are online. Through the observation window, Elena could see one of the new ships preparing to depart. The vessel was beautiful in its deadly efficiency. Its hull gleamed with adaptive armor that could deflect any known weapon. Its engines could push it faster than any other ship in the galaxy, and its weapons could destroy targets from distances measured in light hours. The other species are scared, Elena observed. Chen nodded. They should be. For 800 years, they've lived in a galaxy where the Draconians were the dominant power. Now they're learning that humans are not just back, but we're back with technology that makes their best efforts look primitive. It was true. Human vessels routinely outperformed anything else in space. Human colonies were being established on worlds that other species had declared uninhabitable. Human traders were offering goods and services that seemed like magic to less advanced civilizations. Dr. Vasquez, came a voice from the station's communication system. Please report to Conference Room 7, priority meeting. Elena and Chen exchanged glances. Priority meetings usually meant important news. In Conference Room 7, they found Marcus Webb waiting with a concerned expression on his face. What's the situation? Chen asked. Marcus activated a holographic display showing a distant star system. 3 days ago, our deep space monitors detected unusual energy signatures near the Rigel system. Atlas analyzed the readings and came to a disturbing conclusion. The display zoomed in to show a swirling vortex of dark energy in empty space. Lightning-like discharges crackled across its surface. The temporal dissolution device, Elena whispered. Marcus nodded grimly. Atlas believes this is a quantum echo of the weapon the Draconians used 800 years ago, when they destroyed the original Terran Dominion fleet. The temporal disruption created a kind of scar in spacetime. Chen studied the readings. What does that mean for us? It means Marcus said, that somewhere in the space between dimensions, the original Draconian fleet still exists. And according to Atlas, it's trying to return to normal space. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. The same fleet that deployed the temporal weapon? Yes. If they succeed in returning, they'll bring with them not just advanced technology, but knowledge of how to build more temporal weapons. They could finish what they started 800 years ago. Admiral Chen was quiet for a long moment. Then he stood up straighter, and Elena could see the military commander taking charge. "How long do we have?" he asked. Marcus consulted his data. Atlas estimates 6 months before the quantum echo destabilizes enough to allow their return, maybe less. Chen nodded. Then we have 6 months to prepare for the greatest battle in human history. Elena looked at the swirling vortex on the display. Can we stop them? We have advantages they won't expect, Chen said. 800 years of technological development, knowledge of their tactics from the historical records. And most importantly, they think humanity is extinct. Marcus brought up new displays, showing human military preparations throughout the galaxy. Atlas has been working around the clock to reactivate defensive systems. We now have operational facilities in 40 star systems. Elena watched as the displays showed massive orbital defense platforms coming online. Fleets of new human warships taking their positions. Weapons systems that could reach across entire star systems being moved into position. The other species want to help, Chen reported. The Altarians have offered their entire fleet. The Centaurians are providing their best soldiers. Even some of the reformed Draconians want to fight alongside us. And the unreformed Draconians? Elena asked. Chen's expression darkened. Intelligence suggests they're trying to make contact with their ancient fleet. They want to welcome their ancestors back and help them finish the job. The magnitude of what they were facing began to sink in. Humanity had spent a year rebuilding their civilization and reclaiming their place in the galaxy. Now they faced the possibility of losing it all to the same enemy that had destroyed them once before. But there was something different this time. The humans who had fled to Earth 800 years ago had been refugees, survivors trying to preserve what little remained of their people. The humans preparing for battle now were not refugees. They were the returned masters of space, and they had learned from their defeat. Atlas, Elena said to the air. What are our chances? The AI's voice came from speakers throughout the room. Dr. Vasquez, the humans who fought the original war were caught by surprise and unprepared for temporal weapons. You will not make the same mistakes. On the holographic display, images appeared of the restored human fleets. Thousands of ships, equipped with technology that surpassed even the original Terran Dominion. Weapons designed specifically to counter temporal attacks. Defenses that could protect entire star systems. Moreover, Atlas continued, you now know the truth about Draconian capabilities. They are not the advanced species they pretended to be. Their technology is stolen and poorly understood. They succeeded before through deception and surprise. They will have neither advantage this time. Admiral Chen studied the tactical displays. We need to coordinate with all human facilities throughout the galaxy. When that ancient fleet returns, we hit them with everything we have. Elena looked out the room's window at New Terra Station. A year ago, she had been a simple archaeologist, studying old artifacts. Now she was part of humanity's preparation for the most important battle in galactic history. There's something else, Marcus said quietly. Atlas found references in the ancient records to other Terran Dominion weapons, things that were never deployed during the original war because they were too dangerous. Chen raised an eyebrow. What kind of weapons? Planet killers, star destroyers, things that could wipe out entire solar systems. Marcus paused. Atlas asks if you want those weapons prepared as well. The room was very quiet as they considered the implications. The power to destroy stars was not something to use lightly. But then Elena thought about the billions of humans who had been erased from existence 800 years ago. The children who had never been born because their parents were murdered. The achievements and discoveries that were lost forever. Prepare everything, Admiral Chen said finally. If the Draconians want to finish their genocide, they'll learn that humanity is no longer defenseless. Outside the window, human ships continued their patrols of local space. But now those patrols had a different purpose. They were not just protecting human territory. They were preparing for the return of humanity's greatest enemy. The final battle for the survival of human civilization was coming. And this time, humans would be ready.